Vyasadeva. Translation: O Brahmana Vyasadeva, it is decided by the learned that the best remedial measure for removing all troubles and miseries is to dedicate one's activities to the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Purport: Sri Narad Muni personally experienced that the most feasible and practical way to open the path of salvation or get relief from all miseries of life is to hear submissively the transcendental activities of the Lord from bona fide sources. This is the only remedial process. The entire material existence is full of miseries. Foolish people have manufactured out of their tiny brains many remedial measures for removing the threefold miseries pertaining to the body and mind, pertaining to the natural disturbances, and in relation with other living beings. The whole world is struggling very hard to exist out of these miseries. But men do not know that without the sanction of the Lord, no plan or remedial measure can actually bring about the desired peace and tranquility. The remedial measure to cure a patient by medical treatment is useless if it is not sanctioned by the Lord. To cross the river or the ocean by a suitable boat is no remedial measure if it's not sanctioned by the Lord. We should know for certain that the Lord is the ultimate sanctioning officer, and we must therefore dedicate our attempts to the mercy of the Lord for ultimate success, or to get rid of the obstacles on the path of success. The Lord is all-pervading and all-powerful, omniscient and omnipresent. He is the ultimate sanctioning agent of all good or bad effects. We should therefore learn to dedicate our activities unto the mercy of the Lord and accept Him either as impersonal Brahman, localized Paramatma, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It does not matter what one is. One must dedicate everything in the service of the Lord. If one is a learned scholar, scientist, philosopher, poet, etc., then he should employ his learning to establish the supremacy of the Lord. Try to study the energy of the Lord in every sphere of life. Do not decree Him and try to become like Him or take His position simply by fragmental accumulation of knowledge. If one is an administrator, statesman, warrior, politician, etc., then one should try to establish the Lord's supremacy in statesmanship. Fight for the cause of the Lord as Sri Arjun did. In the beginning, Sri Arjun, the great fighter, declined to fight, but when he was convinced by the Lord that the fighting was necessary, Sri Arjun changed his decision and fought for his cause. Similarly, if one is a businessman or industrialist, agriculturist, etc., then one should spend his hard-earned money for the cause of the Lord. Think always that money which is accumulated in the wealth of the Lord is accumulated by the wealth of the Lord. Wealth is considered to be the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, and the Lord is Narayan, or the husband of Lakshmi. Try to engage Lakshmi in the service of Lord Narayan also. Is this the correct verse? That is the way to realize the Lord in every sphere of life. The best thing is, after all, to get relief from all material activities and engage oneself completely in hearing the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. But in case of the absence of such an opportunity, one should try to engage in the service of the Lord, everything for which one has specific attraction. And that is the way of peace and prosperity. The word Sangsuchitam in this stanza is also significant. One should not think for a moment that the realization of Narad was a childish imagination only. It's not like that. It is so realized by the expert and erudite scholars, and that is the real import of the word, Samsuchitam. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyadi Paschati Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Etat samsuchitam brahmangs tapatraya chikitsitam yadishware bhagavati karma brahmani bhavitam. Translation again. O Brahmana, Vyasadeva, it is decided by the learned that the best remedial measure for removing all troubles and miseries is to dedicate one's activities to the service of the Supreme Lord, Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. People glorify our current civilization because of so much advancement of material knowledge and advancement of material facilities. So this is glorified. They think that now human society is at the epitome of civilization. We are having planes and electric razor and then blender vaccines and before we had bullock cart, now we have cars, computers. We are advanced people. We are advanced. We have come to the tip, the highest. And people before were not intelligent. They didn't have these things. In the village also, they are not intelligent. They don't have it. This is what people think. But let's try to think, why did people make all these things? Why did we make blenders, what they call in India mixies? And why they made cars, phones, all these things? Actually, the purpose is they are trying to alleviate suffering. They're having a difficult life, so they want to make it easy. But why didn't they do this before? Why are they doing it now? Now is Kali Yuga. Okay, whole of Satyuga passed. I think 2 million years something, 2 point something, 1.9 million years. Then Treta, 800 something years, 64,000. No, that's Dwapari. Well, a lot of time passed. Millions of years have passed, and no one did these things. No, then we come with our tiny brain, Prabhupada says, and we make all these facilities. Why didn't they do it before? Before they used only horse carts, carriages, bullock carts. Now they made all these things. Well, the reason they made it is to try to mitigate suffering that they are feeling now. That it's suffering to shaving, you have to have electric one. And suffering walking better or using a bullock cart and waiting. I want to get to the destination quickly. Why should I use a bullock cart? I should use a car. So to mitigate that suffering. But what about before? People are not suffering? They were not suffering like this. We are suffering more. It's a fact. In Kali Yuga we are suffering more, generally. And birth, death, disease, old age are more prominent now. All kind of suffering is more prominent. It was there before, but not so much perceived. Because suffering, it's a question of perception. We could be in a situation, two people are suffering, one is not. He doesn't see that situation as suffering. Like if 3 people are walking and one person is abusing them. So maybe 2 will get angry, 1 will think, well, anyway that person is on level of a dog, why should we reply to barking dogs? But others are feeling suffering. So this suffering is our perception. What is our perception? The consciousness. So before, all these things were there, but people's consciousness was such, they didn't perceive it as suffering. They had a different consciousness. One hint is given in this verse, where it says that our actions should be dedicated to the service of the Lord. That was done before. Everything was done for God. Slowly that left. We're doing everything for us. Now we'll suffer because consciousness has changed. It's become material consciousness. When we do anything for ourselves, at that second the guna comes. Rajagun, tamogun captures us very tightly. Any form of sense gratification increases the infection of the guna. And so the guna will act. And when it acts, that is suffering. It makes us suffer in different ways. How? Creating so many material desires which we cannot fulfill. That is suffering. And in any situation which seemed so normal before, now it's too much. Like as I said, it was always, heat was there, but no one thought to manufacture fans and the air conditioners until we came now in Kali Yuga. So due to attempt to stop suffering, so much endeavor has come to do that. The intelligent person will ask, now why we do this? Insight. The Shastra is giving us insight into this. And as Prabhupada said, that in Kali Yuga, not really the verses, but the purports are more important. His purports, he said, they're more important than the verses. So Prabhupada is revealing here that this suffering condition due to materialism has made us advance this material civilization. But it cannot stop our suffering, even one sesame seed, one mustard seed. It cannot stop the suffering. It cannot, because this is a question of consciousness. We can observe even people with the most material facilities, they are not happy. So we should not go in that direction. Through intelligence, let's understand Shastra and try to remedy the situation in the proper way. If God does not sanction anything, it won't happen. Nothing will happen. So it's mentioned in this verse, actually another verse is being paraphrased. This verse by Prahlad Maharaj, where he says that Bale Saneha Shranam Pitaro Nrsimha, that for a child, the parent is not the shelter. Udanvati Majato now, that a person drowning in the ocean, even the boat cannot relieve him. And what is the other one? Nartasya Chagadam, one who is having disease, the medicine cannot relieve unless Supreme Lord sanctions. Taptasya tat pradividirya ihan jaseshtas tavad vibho yad upekshita tanubritam yad upekshitanam. Those who have accepted the bodily form of life are suffering. To relieve any form of suffering, Supreme Lord has to sanction it. Nothing can work without His sanction. So the more we eliminate God from our consciousness, our thinking, from family, society, country, then we will be at the mercy of these modes of nature, the Prakriti. And the material nature is given the duty to make us suffer. It said, Tritiya Shakti Ishyate. Vishnu Purana explains the third energy, internal energy, external energy, and the material energy. It says the external energy, samsara tapan akhilan, all this kind of suffering is given to the jeev who has come out of the material sphere. Samsara tapan. Samsara means material existence. Tapan means suffering. Samsara tapan. Avapnoti atra santatam. So this, the more one enters into materialism, like now society is so much there, then the three whips, it says here in the verse, tapatraya, doesn't come out in the translation, but because Prabhupada gives like the purport of a verse within the translation. So tapatraya, the three kinds of suffering. Prabhupada often uses the word whip, the three whips. I hope we never have to experience a whip. It was there before. They for punishing subjects or sometimes family members, they'll use a whip. It's really horrible. It removes the skin, from that's the nature. So three whips are there, three forms of suffering which we know. So these three whips are utilized by Daivi Maya to make us suffer. The more we go away from God. Rascal, go back to God. You will not be happy. Rascal, mudha. You left shelter of God. How can you do that? He's providing everything. I'm breathing air. Where did that come from? I didn't manufacture in my company. We're breathing air. We got a body, digestion, hand, eyes. What are you using it for? To earn money, to do sense gratification. That's not what, that is not the point. It was given. So it will make you suffer. So this is the Devi, Shakdevi Maya's job. With the 3 whips will make us suffer. The remedies given in this verse, that whatever remedial form now we have manufactured to stop our suffering, it didn't happen. Previously we didn't have hospital, we didn't have medicines, but there were no disease. Now the funny thing is we have so many hospitals. If I walk this way, every 5th hospital shop is a pharmacy, you know, and in the city it's more. You go there. Practically we stop the car, where's the pharmacy? There, okay. We can easily find it, you know. But where's the temple? You have to check Google Map. Temples are less. Pharmacies are more. So because actually we wanted to stop that suffering, we didn't. Nothing happened. We cannot do it. We cannot see this fact because our vision is covered. But the diseases are increasing and we could not stop them with our medical education and degree and everything. It's increasing. It's worse. Not only relating to medicine, but any other kind of suffering. Government or health is the biggest. No? Government, wars, all these things. They are more, they're increasing. So the remedy is here that Sangsuchitam, it's decided by the learned Brahmana, but that the remedial measure is to use our, it says here karam. Karam refers to one's prescribed duty. So yes, we can say, well, it means in Varnashram. But then Prabhupada says, okay, you're as a doctor, statesman, whatever, you should use your profession to serve God. Supreme Lord is sanctioner. If he doesn't sanction, nothing will happen. So this is mentioned here at that verse I quoted in Bhagavatam. And it's a very deep insight. When we realize these things, only then we can get peace. Because otherwise we think, I'm at the mercy of this material world and the people, and we didn't realize that properly. Who really is, everyone is under in this material world? It's under the Supreme Lord. And if we take shelter of Him, then the material energy cannot touch us. Actually, we are being punished because we went away from God. So, Supreme Sanctioner, this is given also in Bhagavad Gita, in several places, but in one particular verse, chapter 13, text 23, describing the super soul. Upadrishtanvante vacha bharta bhukta maheshwara parmatme hi chapi ukto dehesmin yatha para. Upadrishta means overseer. Like in a factory, you have people doing different work. Everyone knows his work. I have to do this, then I give it to him, he has to do that, this, that. But you have somebody called the factory foreman, his office is on top, and he sees everything. He knows all the work. Upadrishta. And he has a higher vision of what is going on, the process. What is the final product, how it's coming and what has to be done. He has, but each of them don't have that idea. So the Paramatma within, Krishna's representative, is within us. He has a proper vision who we are and what will suffer even, and how to stop it and everything he knows. I learned through a friend of mine, he was a karmi, he was not a devotee. He said once that sometimes I see some people and they suffer, they're suffering in whatever way. So I feel bad for them. But when I associate with them more, I realize why they're suffering. They have some bad quality or something. I'm thinking, oh, he should suffer. Like, so that is in a karmi material way. Then I also think in the spiritual way it's same thing also. Now we all going through different things, but that's for us to be purified. We may not see, but Krishna's upadrishta, he can see what we are and who we are. We don't know. Once Prabhupada disciple Shyamsundar Prabhu said one of the biggest problems in spiritual societies, people thinking they're more advanced than they are. I haven't seen this problem here. I'm just speaking what he said as a general thing. So Because in general, people think I'm perfect, everything, why am I suffering? But actually, we all have something. And because Krishna is Upadrishta, he sees. He just like a mother or father of a child understands the child. They make some sweet. Sweet has to be offered. They tell the child, don't have it, it has to be offered. Okay. Then they look out, they peep in the room. They know this is a child. He's going to eat the sweet. Then the child eats the sweet. Don't do it, I told you. It has to be offered. The parent knows what the child will do. Even the child doesn't know maybe. In this way, he's the overseer. Okay? Upadrishta, Anumanta. Anumanta means permitter or sanctioner. He'll give the sanction. We want to do something, Supreme Lord will sanction it, yes or no. Then it's not possible. So this, we're talking about individually, and of course in a national level, everything. If a country wants to do something, it won't work if it's not meant to. But in terms of each person, somebody, he wants to jump, maybe onto something. Krishna says, no, he will not allow, and he'll fall down, he'll not be able to jump. He'll not allow. Or someone thinks, okay, I'm going to go and walk this 20 kilometers. He tries and it's difficult. Krishna didn't allow. I wanted to. He's not allowing. Before he allowed. Now he'll not allow. Or as Prabhupada says, like, we want to eat, we eat a certain amount, Krishna permits. Then we eat more than that. No, indigestion. Krishna won't allow. I'll not digest it. You are not permitted for that much. So, according to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we are permitted something. And if we exceed that, there is suffering. In a small way or a great way. So, Upadrishta Anumanta. But we don't understand this. If we understand, then we should live accordingly and understand what does God want of us? How should we live? What should we do? People who cannot enjoy, they try to extend their life to enjoy more and more and more. But that causes more suffering. It used to be that after age 50, in Vedic society, generally, couples won't try, they'll not unite, for sex. They let go. Okay, finish, it's over. Focus now on spirituality. It was considered very, what's that word, ashaming if, someone does that. Now it's not like that. So whatever material facilities we have, it's limited. It is a karma. Everyone has a karma. How much to eat, how much physically they can do, thinking, intelligence. For some it finishes at certain time, whatever time. So to understand Krishna as the sanctioner, this will give us deeper insight into life and help us. Otherwise we become ridiculously, trying to challenge God, as Prabhupada says in the purport, thinking that we are tiny gods. We became God. We are challenging what Krishna has already, what he has decided, we try to change it. It's not possible. The sanctioner has to say, Upadrishta Anumanta evacha bharta bhokta maheshwara. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is also bharta, the master. He's the master of the body. He owns it. Bharta, and therefore he is the bhokta, enjoyer. I am given this body for serving God. Senses belong to God. Everything belongs to God in this body. If we don't do that, then the facility of enjoyment, that will create suffering, as says in Bhagavad Gita, in that verse, Yahi samsvacha jabhoga dukkha yonaya evati. And this is confirmed in the 11th canto in Uddhav Gita, where it's mentioned, who is the person suffering the most in this material world? The person seeking material happiness. He suffers the most compared to anyone. So, Bharta Bhokta, the enjoyer of this body is the Supreme. And therefore, as the verse says, one has to dedicate his actions to this personality. We should therefore learn to dedicate our activities unto the mercy of the Lord and accept Him either as impersonal Brahman, localized Paramatma, or Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if someone reaches this understanding, they'll be very peaceful. You see life, in Sanskrit they use the word bhokta. Bhokta, like good and bad things are bhokta, enjoyed or suffer. So it's like everyone has a plate. A plate is put in front of everyone, and not everyone is given the same food. Some are given better food or more portion. But we simply have to eat what we are given on the plate, isn't it? I'm sitting, something is put on the plate, eat it. Oh, he has more, I should get more. No, that's he got. You focus on your plate, whatever's gotten. We have our karma. We came with this ability, we came with this thing, and just be peaceful and do it. If we don't do this varnashram system won't work. If people don't accept it. So we should be satisfied with what the Supreme has given and just be peaceful and live like that and attain self-realization. This is our route to happiness. But civilization, society says no. Everyone must get a degree. Some people in my family, they couldn't get degree. They tried, they struggled, but we don't. Society, you have to get a degree. What for? For what? There's no need. Okay, not only that, but whatever society is saying everyone should do, we don't have to. Everyone is different. Eat from your own plate. Everyone has different, whatever it is. From Shastra now, people are not reading Shastra, so na sasiddhim avapnoti na sukham na paranga. They'll not get happiness, they'll not get perfection, nor the supreme destination. They're not reading Shastra. They're not taking their guidance from Shastra. So they manufactured a different kind of civilization here, where from young age everyone is told you have to achieve materially. It's brainwashed so much in us that even initiated devotees find it hard to come out of this. And when we say, okay, now we have to give up this civilization, so-called, take up a spiritual, more godly centered life and a simpler life based on land, cows, etc. Then they say that then our intelligence will become dull. We have to use our intelligence. We have to use, like in a college, you use your intelligence to do a degree. We have to use our intelligence. Then, the reply is that you try to read Upanishad, you cannot even read it, your so-called intelligence. We will not understand it. They were more intelligent before. Now we cannot even read the Shruti. That we are given Smritis to read, Puranas, and very intricate. We attended some 1 or 2 classes of Vedanta, Shamantak in Ceylon. I don't know who was the one, some of you were there. You were not there, you were there. So, one sentence going this way, that way, that way. I mean, they're looking at one sentence from so many angles. Sutra means deep meaning, each word, each sentence. People were intelligent before. That's why they didn't make motor cars and shavers and contraceptives and all these factories. They were intelligent. They knew which way it will go. And we think we're intelligent. We made all this. Actual intelligence is supposed to be utilized in understanding the scriptures. Try to understand meaning of life and the philosophy. Even we think we know, now we understand the philosophy. I read the books. But you try to do one of these Bhakti Shastra papers in Gaudiya Math, which is in Bhakti Siddhanta Vaibhav. You cannot understand anything. There's a lot even in our philosophy we don't get. It was very high level. We are supposed to read these books of 6 Goswamis, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, etc. after reading Prabhupada's books 3 times and permission of your guru or authorities. We are supposed to study these previous texts, come to a high level of Krishna consciousness. We have a lot to do. We have a lot of reading. We have a lot to preach, to take people out of this demonic consciousness. Of course, first we had to come out of it. That's also not easy. We've been brought up in this way, thinking, you have to work, we have to. Actually, there's a interview. Yes, I was listening. When I travel, and a reporter asked, like, Prabhupada gives different answers every time. And in one, the reporter's asking, because I was just hearing interviews. They asked Prabhupada, so why aren't any of you working in the normal society? Prabhupada said, there's no need to work. There's no need for working. And the reporter asked, how will you get your food? Then Prabhupada said, food? Go and get it. Go and get your food. If you want the food, go and get it. Why you have to work? He's giving a different understanding. The same thing, that you want the food, okay, go and grow it and get it. Why do you have to work? So it's a very deep, I can't go through all of it, what he said, but he gave a different perspective. Some Suchitam, here, it's that this realization being presented by Sutta Goswami. Here, Prabhupada said, it's not that the word Samsuchitam is a stanza. One should not think for a moment that the realization of Narad was a childish imagination, his opinion. Because Narad Muni is saying, Samsuchitam. It is realized by expert and erudite scholars. That is this is opinion of very intelligent people. Vyasadeva had a terrific brain, intellect. In one shloka it says, Vyasa Vishala Buddhi, great, massive intellect to compile the Vedas. And Prabhupada once, he got angry when he was debating with someone. Someone said, no, Vedas, we cannot take 100% what they say. And then Prabhupada said, now you're criticizing Vedas, please leave the room. You're criticizing Vyasa. He wrote the Vedas, you're criticizing him. Please leave the room. Then anyway, the conversation continued. He didn't leave the room. So as a conclusion for this section about overcoming miseries and troubles, everything in human society should be for the Supreme. Yajñarthat karmano, everything. And this will lead to the alleviation, stopping of suffering of the tapatraya, it says here. Tapatraya chikitsitam, remedial measure, is dedicating to the Lord. This is again in Bhagavatam, because Bhagavatam is same Bhagavad Gita expanded. In Bhagavatam another verse comes there, that anartha upashamam sakshat bhakti yogam adhoksham. Bhakti yoga relieves us from anarthas, suffering of anarthas. Artha means something of value. Anarth, things not needed in our mind. Envy, anger, greed, smoking, whatever. These are relieved through the linking process of bhakti. Lokasya ajanata, but people don't know. Therefore they start inventing things and doing PhDs and researching and think tanks, etc. Lokasya ajanata vidvams chakre satvat samita. That's why we have compiled Bhagavatam. To show these people, this is not the way. This is not the way to stop the suffering. Anartha pashamam. How? Bhakti yoga. Then in that case, you can live very simply and be happy. Very simply. I usually travel with a small suitcase. Someone gives to me a big suitcase. I was having trouble filling. Everything was shaking. This is such a small suitcase. You should travel with a big one. But I filled half of it and that's it. Then I had to put a strap. Then you travel, everything is moving around, getting damaged. Then I'm thinking, what do people carry to fill up a huge suitcase like that? And they're giving 46 kg limit in a plane. To do what? For what? Are they carrying the kitchen sink and the tap or what? 46 kg. Anyway, if you follow godly life, we'll be happy. And therefore it said, what is the wealth of a Brahmana? What is it? Austerity. Yeah, it says in one. Yeah, you said the same thing last time. In one place it says knowledge. Another place the wealth is austerity, because wealth is when you are happy with so many things. But a Brahmana is austere. He's happy with few things. That is his wealth. With minimum things, he's happy. And then how nice is life, that you're satisfied, things which people are trying hard to achieve. Satisfaction. In a Brahmana is so satisfied. Even if you speak about Grihastha Brahmana, Grihasthas normally, they have to have so many things accumulate, but Grihastha Brahmana, living in a Brahminical way, peaceful living with less things. So Vyas is explaining here, Narad Muni is telling Vyas, because he's speaking about his life and his realization. So he was given knowledge by those great personalities, and that knowledge helped him to come on a higher spiritual level, and that removed all his troubles and miseries. He became happy. Therefore he's telling Vyas that it's decided by learned, these Bhaktivedantas he's referring to, who imparted knowledge to him, persons like them. It is decided by the learned that the best remedial measure for removing all troubles and miseries is to dedicate one's activities to the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in Vedic culture they're trained. So if someone has certain ability and capacity, and they should be happy and satisfied with that. Whatever it is, be satisfied and get on the path to self-realization. Not that everyone has to do all the things and be equal. That whatever we are given, we can use it for Krishna. We don't, and very often it happens, who will attain the Supreme? People who have so many skills or abilities, sometimes this is obstacle. Hare Krishna. Shrimad Bhagavatam ki jai. No question? Yes.
Just like you said, people, they were living peacefully, they were not having problems. Maybe they were having problems, so
Yes.
they were able to live with it. But we've seen, just like farming, if you take one example, and we were reading a lecture whereby someone asked, I think somebody was doing a lecture, someone said, for city people it would be very difficult to adjust farming and the lifestyle. They won't want to do it. And Murari said, even the villages, they don't want to do it. So, if it was so simple, or if it's so easy, then why people they are not taking it?
Okay, so the question is, the fan is loud, I have to repeat. The question is that, see that people were living on the farm and they are living,
They don't want to do it.
but they don't want to do it on the farm, and for city people it's difficult to do. So now we have to, if for this we can look at why they left in the first place. The village, they were living happily. Why did they leave and come to the city and find another life? Right in the beginning when everything was going on. So we can observe that, we can see that as time progressed and we entered Kali Yuga, the effects of Rajagun, Tamagun increased. That is natural, just like in rainy season, the rain will come. When Kali Yuga starts, the lowest population is born. Things become difficult. So these population who are born, they're sinful, they reject Veda, generally they reject God consciousness. Because of rejecting God consciousness, they could not stay in a simple place. They had to now seek that happiness elsewhere through material things. The same happiness that was available in one hand, this well and a land and a cow, people are happy. They were God conscious. Their happiness didn't come from those things. It came from within. But now that God consciousness left, now they're seeking their happiness in flat screen TV and Wi-Fi and PVR cinema, girlfriends, etc. They're seeking that happiness. So that's not easy to do on the land. You have to come to the city, in a city environment. Okay, so if people are God, therefore we are saying That's how it left. Okay, so now to go back on the land, is it easy? It's not easy because we are so much infected. As in chapter 3, in Bhagavad Gita, in the last verse, it's explaining about lust and sense gratification. There Prabhupada says that when love turns to lust, it's hard to come back up, generally. So when we came into sense gratification to again be Krishna conscious, it's possible, definitely. It's not so easy. So now to go back and living in that hostile environment won't be so easy. It's a fact. The people who are there in the village, they can't understand the point to do it because they're having vision of sense gratification. We also in the city are having that vision. This makes it hard. But who can do it? Who understands that this is the way, this is not the way. They realize it deeply through realization in Shastra. Because of realization, people renounce and take sannyas and join brahmacharya ashram. Realization people get in knowledge. Or even grahasthas who become renounced within grahastha ashram, living very simply, due to knowledge and realization. That same realization is needed for them to come on the farm now. Physically it will be hard. We are, eating white rice and noodles. It's not so easy. But even at least go in living a simpler way, tend towards that as much as they can. That will be good for them. Much better. Yeah.
So in this connection, few days back I was discussing with Prabhupada that here we are talking about, yesterday, that we are talking about devotees coming to farm, but then they are already on a very high platform to be taking up such a austere lifestyle. But we see Prabhupada's vision, it's like farms are for the general mass, to bring the general mass to the farms. And within the farms there will be devotees as the core members of the farm community. But the general public has to come to such a austere platform. It's very, how to picture that seems very, very distant, although it should be done very quickly.
Yeah, therefore we have our primary objective, which is to preach Krishna consciousness. But as Prabhupada did, when we are preaching Krishna consciousness, from the beginning, we have to bash this modern civilization and speak about farms and simple living. Prabhupada did this from the beginning. I was speaking to Sabyasachi Prabhu when I was going to preach in Malawi, in the beginning. I told him, because Maharaj said that you should establish a farm. I said, how to do it? He said, from day one you have to speak it. From day one, tell them that is bogus, this is good. That is, why is it bogus? Sense gratification, sinful, not satisfying materially, doesn't give happiness. From beginning you have to say that. And bash that. And then realization will come, then they'll say, I have to do this. Okay, so the thing is, how to bring people on that level. So from beginning you have to show them. Every day I'm brushing, and that brush has plastic is entering a medical, they're saying that plastic is in our body, this material life is poisonous air, poisonous food, poisonous water, and you're getting disease, and what kind of life is this? These things we have to point out, which Prabhupada did, especially first canto Bhagavatam, purports, Yudhishthira Maharaj there in his rule, Prabhupada pointed out. So we have to do that, defects, modern society. Simultaneously we have to elevate them spiritually and change their consciousness. Prabhupada said mass level of alleviating consciousness are two: prasad distribution, harinams. But of course don't underestimate book distribution, that also. In these ways, in a mass scale, you can change the consciousness of people. Then they'll tend towards that. One in Sattva-gun, he'll not want to enter a factory, go into this IT, a nightmare thing. It's difficult to live like that. Animal society, working so hard, whole life, whole day. This is not supposed. We are not meant for sitting computer whole day like this. All kind of diseases come. Happiness can never come.
This farming,
Yeah.
there are people who are really inclined and passionate to do that.
Yeah.
I have seen my father is now using farming after retiring.
Oh.
For him it is passion now.
Okay.
So there are people who are really interested in. But since it is a Vaishya Varna, those who are not interested, they can assist them. In that way, with everyone's support, Maharaj also told her, with everybody's support and this thing can.
Yes. See, yeah, it's difficult, but some people are inclined, they can, and others can assist. But still his point that it's hard, how do you bring the modern population? You can see what they are, We go out of here, you see, now imagine putting these people to hold, to farm and plant papaya. It's hard, But it is possible, and pure devotee has spoken, Prabhupada, and it will happen. And whoever takes it up, they'll be empowered by Prabhupada and will do it. And that is required. But one more point I want to say in this regard. Now it's gone. What was it? That, to bring people on the land. And what did you say? That it's so difficult. I went to Kurmagram once. And I heard from the person in charge in that farm that once someone came from Malaysia and heard about this farm, he came there, came taking pictures, then they told him, see, why don't you stay and experience it? Okay. Then he stayed with them, he was wearing shorts, then gradually, hey, why don't you wear dhoti? Okay. And he became a devotee. Then they gave him a house and he's practicing and he's there. That's what I heard. So, that's another way of making devotees. Another is you come to temple, attend the Sunday program. Another is you come on the farm. And he could see this is working, everything is so good here. And he'll stay.
By
Showing that this is better life. I know a person now, I won't say the name, most of you know him, he's in Bangalore. He keeps telling me, it's so hard to do this. So much pressure from my family, I cannot do it, so much pressure. And I have to do this, IT and software and bring money, but I cannot do it. This life. I told him, you're sattvic and you have gyan. If you are animal, then you'll do it. You can just block human sentiments and sit on the screen all day and type something. This is not human. It's not. Human being has certain, higher, finer sentiments and thoughts, and like philosophy. We have to discuss philosophy. We have to see the form of God. Discuss about Krishna with people. But if you can sit whole day on the computer like that, that's not a normal thing. So I told him, all glories to you. Now go the other way. Start something in a farming, agriculture. And he wants more discussion. I'll discuss with him. Okay, Hare Krishna. 3. Okay.
Agriculture, whether it should be seen as a business or self-sustenance. Because a lot of people, they want to see it as a business. With the produce, they want to make money to fulfill
the material desires.
In that aspect only, they feel that it is risky or so much hard work we have to do and we are not getting. But if you see as a means of sustenance, then it makes sense.
Very good point. So the point and he's making that. So people are starting the agriculture that Prabhupada said, or maybe their own, and they take it as a business venture. But then everything follows you, all that crowd, the lobe, everything, the money is there. So then you didn't change much. So actually it should be just self-sustaining, Atmanirbhar, self-sufficiency. And the motto is 2 in the farms nowadays in Iskcon. I heard one is produce everything you eat. Don't get from outside what you produce, everything you eat, and eat everything you produce. Don't sell it. Eat it. Don't package it and export. So these are the 2 things. Don't buy, don't sell. Eat it, plant it. That's it. Once money comes, then greed, envy, all of these things. It's hard. Yeah, that's a good point. Money should be eliminated. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Okay? Finish? Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. You had a question.